Uyini umthelela wokwebiwa, ukucekela phansi nokunganakekelwa ngqalasizinda, phecelezi infrasctructure ngolwasemzini. Sikubingelele, sikwamukele ohlelweni Asikhulume, let's talk. Igama lami nginguBongiwe, Makhumalo wakwaZwane. What is the impact of theft, vandalism and lack of maintenance of infrastructure? Umbuzo wethu lowo, mbukeli.Sikhulume somabhizinisi abasafufusa baselokishini lase Soweto esifundazweni saseGauteng ngale nkinga. Ake sizwe nje ukuthi bathi umthelela walokhu yini emabhizinisini abo.
Business yami idila ngento student accommodation. The number one big thing ngayisho electricity. Nakhona electricity load shedding ngiyayibona. Lapho ehlala khona thina la ePimville. Iproblem ehlukumeza kakhulu cable theft. Sinokuhlala without ugesi for 2 to 3 weeks. So it does impact productivity for their side as well, because the students, they need to write assignments, they need to contact people.
It's a car wash business. It's signature car wash based in Jabulani. It's an equipment it's a vacuum cleaner for a car wash, and then it's a high power pressure imoto. So on the car wash side, those machines, and it's the main reason why abantu beza car wash. Our turnover on a monthly basis is affected in that sometimes we find ourselves even running short of rent. We're running short. Sometimes I need to push our salaries with staff, a few days later.
For us as motorists, it's near the Goloi, Mavili, and the little windscreen. On my other car, the windscreen is cracked because of I hit a pothole, and it's expensive to repair.
Nah, 20 years in running saloon manje. So, inking eslangana nazo like amanzi, like anokhamba, like electricity, like nokucima, like where busy, ugabona, like somehow unamatlanta maningi, ugabona. So we have to go to Zameguti. Sithola ama-light yabana, and ama-light somehow our last isikhathi eside yabana, so it is 2 hours then abadim, so we have to find amakhandlela then ukuthi sikhona ukulayita and sikhona ukusebenza sicede umsebenzi wethu.
Mbukeli, bekuyizimvo zosomabhizinisi abasafufusa baseSoweto esifundazweni saseGauteng lezo, kanti nombukeli nje ongenalo ibhizinisi lokhu kunomthelela ongemuhle nakuye. Bheka njengoba iningi selifisa nokudayisa imizi ngenxa yobugebengu obudalwa ukucima kukagesi, amanzi nokuke kungabi khona isikhathi eside ngenxa yokwebiwa nokucekelwa phansi ngqalasizinda. Okogesi kona kubuye kukhulise izinga lobugebengu, kanti nabanini bemizi bathi kunomthelela omubi kuyophela intengo yemizi yabo. Lesi senzo sobugebengu mbukeli futhi sinomthelela ekubambezelekeni kokulethwa kwezidingo nqange ezibalulekile. Isibonelo nje, isimo lapho isakhamuzi sidinga khona usizo leambulance, kodwa ngenxa yamarobot angasebenzi kahle, iambulance eyayingase ifike ngemzizu nje ngaphansi kwama-30 manje isithatha isikhathi esingaphezulu kwehora. Mbukeli, asikukhumbuze ke ukuthi ningaba ingxenye lolu hlelo ngokusishayela ucingo sizwe umbono noma umbuzo wakho. Inombolo zethu ke zocingo zithi 011 7140677 noma 011 7140678. Kanti ungabuye futhi usithole kumakhasethi okuxhumana ku Twitter @SABC Izindaba kanye na ku Facebook SABC Izindaba. Ukuze kubelula ke mbukeli, sicela uqale ngo #SABC News #Asikhulume bese ke ubhala umbuzo noma umbono wakho. Asikhulume. Mbukeli, sikwamukele futhi ake sikhulume nje ngalolu daba olubonisayo ukuthi ingqalasizinda eMzantsi Afrika asinakekeli kahle. Sinodokotela uBandile Masuku nobuya ku Community Safety Portfolio Committee Shayamthetho sesifundazwe saseGauteng, samukele nonkosazane uPalisa Khambule noyisekela likamongameli wenhlangano iSoweto Business Forum kanye noWayne Duvenage, CEO of Outer. We had invited the Ministry of Public Works and Infrastructure for this discussion, but after many promises, they didn't come through. But let's have this particular discussion. Let me thank you all for your time, and I'll start with you, Palisa. one thing about, not looking after infrastructure, it's not only just a competence of government, but it's also a competence of the community members. And I wonder, what becomes the impact for businesses, as we've seen, when, infrastructure is crumbling?
No, ngiyabonga kakhulu. When infrastructure is crumbling, it's a serious impact, especially in the businesses. I'll just go back with most of people, especially that are running ama-spaza shops. And labantu labo uthola ukuthi ama-fridges abo asayabeka izinto seziyamoshakala. So what is going to happen when they are selling it back to the community futhi sekuyizifo futhi ezidaleka ku-community. So it's a serious problem. But nami ngihlale ngibatshela ukuthi it's not the responsibility of government. Ma uyi-community member, you've got a right ukuthi ma ubona into wrong uyi-report. And nokuthi la ziya khona lama cables mabawatshontsha kakhulu athengiswa kuphi and umphakathi wona uthini, especially thina abantu bamabhizinisi, because lento leni affecta thina kakhulu. Amabhizinisi amaningi sewavaliwe kumanje.
And that's definitely something that you raise that is critical there. But Dr. Masuku, I'm going to come to you, and before we even get into some of what Palis is saying here, we invited the Ministry of Public Works and Infrastructure. It's such an important discussion. And I wonder, what does it say to you that they're not here? Dr. Masuku?
Ngiyabingelela kakhulu to your viewers. I think it's something that maybe could be addressed, and we could find maybe some reasons why he's not here. But it is an important discussion. It's a discussion basically in a legislature. We even have a bill or a task team that is overseeing this particular aspect, the infrastructure sabotage and vandalism. And it's something that is problematic if ministers don't want to come and take part and interact with the public on such an important topic.
Before ngiya Wayne, Dr. Masuku, you say that for you it's such a concern, and the sabotage. Let's talk about that for you as a portfolio committee. How much of a concern is this?
It is a big concern, but it affects all facets of life, or generally in the country, because if abantu batshontsha ama-cable, it affects i-communication, ukuxhumana kuba nzima. Mabatshontsha i-cable, kuba ne-problem yogesi, interruption ye-electricity, which makes it difficult. It affects ibhedlela, it affects ama-clinic, it affects iy'kolo, it affects yonke indawo. So Yona is a big problem, and it's something that needs to actually to be done. But I think mobilize the community and the public in protecting this infrastructure would be much good in taking us forward in this regard.
And we're going to talk about what that looks like in just a moment. Wayne, let me come back to you before I come back to Palisa. One of the things that, we've seen is that over time, we keep talking about this issue of either infrastructure, sabotage, damage, a lack of maintenance and all of that. Where are we failing to just fix this once and for all?
Good day. Nice to be with you. Thanks for letting me be here with your listeners and yourself. So look, if you're not going to allocate the money that is required to maintain your infrastructure, then it will break down over time. It's like a car. You don't run a car forever and a day and don't maintain it. It's going to get worse and worse and eventually breaks down. And that's what's happening. So you saw the M2 that was closed for a very long time in Johannesburg as a result of a lack of maintenance of many years. We see roads and bridges washed away when there are floods, which shouldn't be the case because they're not constantly maintained. And so roads are closed off for a long period of time while the maintenance takes place, or the repair job. And repairs are always a lot more costly than maintenance. So this view that we see very often in all sectors of government, especially in local government, is that if the roads look okay, if the pipes are leaking from time to time and they do patch jobs, that's a sign that things are going to get worse and worse, and they are. And right now, we see, if you look at the budgets and you look at the actual expenditure of maintenance repairs in local government over the last 15 years, they've gone backwards. But the salaries of the employees in the municipalities have gone up. The consultants' costs have gone up. The contractors' costs have gone up at an average of over 18%, so closer to 20%, while your maintenance and repair expenditure has actually declined, not even related to inflation. So if you're not going to maintain your cities, then we're going to have the problems that we have. And it's roads across the country, it's railway tracks, it's Eskom. The list goes on and on. I think we have a problem when it comes to government allocating money to maintenance. And then the next problem is when they do allocate the maintenance, it's the quality of the work. We see roads that are repaired and a number of months later they're broken again. So we really have a problem with oversight as well.
And I'm going to come back to the quality in just a moment, but I do understand we have a caller on the line. Kukuchele, Sawubona. You can go ahead, ma.
I impela lento infrastructure distracting iyasihlupha mntanami iyasihlupha icrime ikhuphukile endaweni laba abantu bayazi ukuthi ugesi awukho and for how long ama-alarm avele kucima amabhetri wakhona mangabe ugesi usuhambe mhlambe for 2 mina sengigqekezelwe kayi-2 kuphulwa umuzi sithathwa into impela iyasihlupha kakhulu kabi as much as load shedding isibulalela ama-appliances wethu but le distraction ehlala for days without i-power hayi inkinga mntanami.
Ma siyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho Palisa. I mean, it's difficult to hear something like that because it's not only about umuntu owumama mhlambe ohlala kwakhe noma umuntu onendlu. It also impacts amabhizinisi ngoba nawe yaqhekezwa especially mangabe kuba mnyama.
I was always saying sometimes when they give us a schedule less load shedding, sometimes kungcono ngathi singabi khona because already it's alerting criminals good from this time to this time ugesi uzobungekho. So it's really a big concern indaba ye safety yama cables kakhulu. It's really a concern indaba yokunga maintain ama pipes wamanzi. Last month, Soweto ihleli close to 4 to 5 days inganamanzi, just water. So you can imagine even if you could but uwabekile amanzi, but how can you even run a business unganayo even a single drop of water? So it's a really disturbing situation to everyone.
And mbukeli sizothi masibuya, we look at the quality. Wayne raised a very important point about equality of the work that gets done. Uma ngabe sekukhona imali esibekiwe ukuthi akube ne-improvement yengqalasizinda, kodwa siyabona ukuthi amanye ama-contractors athathe contracts, athathe imali, kodwa umsebenzi becomes extremely shoddy. So how then do we prevent this one? Kodwa mbukeli akasithathe ikhefu siyabuya. Mbukeli sisakhuluma ngayo indaba yengqalasizinda ukuthi senze njani ukuthi singayicekeli phansi kanti futhi kube khona namaplani ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi ibe well maintained njengoba besilalelela ihambeli zethu zisho. Angeke ngibuyele kuwe Dr. Masuku. One of the things that Wayne raises is a very important point which is part of maybe why we are finding ourselves here. The quality of the work that is done by the contractors, that is also under scrutiny because we keep going back to fixing the same things, and yet contractors are appointed and they're given money.
Yes, it is a big problem. I think it's a valid point, and it's a point that has been of concern as Isham Teto Gauteng, and we end up being part of a company that we are going to blacklist. A company that will ask them to pay back the money that they've been paid because of the quality of work that they've done. And it's something that we need to continuously work on in terms of oversight. And the other thing that we also need to actually do is to make sure that we have officials, particularly engineers, that they can be able to oversee some of these actual projects. So it is a big problem, and it's something that we have been actually working on it. There are companies that have been blacklisted in Gauteng from doing business. Some have been charged. So for them to be able to pay back the money. So it is a big problem issue, quality. And I think issue of budget cuts is also a big concern, and the economy is not doing quite well in terms of availing enough resources. But I think it is a point made, Guti, with the resources that we have, we should make best of it and be able to do quality maintenance work.
And it's quite encouraging to hear that companies are being blacklisted, particularly those who would have done shoddy work. Now, Wayne, one thing we can't run away from is the issue around sabotage, because it is a serious issue as well when it comes to infrastructure. I wonder, should we not declare that as treason? Because effectively, that's economic sabotage.
Yeah, no, we should. We should have the harshest penalties applied to people who are involved in sabotage. But I think what I would like to propose, because we've been putting this word out there for some time, is that the communities will get a lot more involved in assisting with looking after and protecting our infrastructure, if only the authorities would allow them to. So I'll give you a quick example. We've developed an application for free to municipalities, all municipalities, for free, with the back end that helps them, communities report infrastructure breakdowns, water leaks, sewage leaks, and so forth. We're even introducing a button called vandalism. Because when people are on the scene and they press the vandalism button, they can film it, they can take the photos, they can send a message within seconds to a response team that can get there within a few minutes and apprehend the criminals. The problem is the authorities who we offer these services to for free don't want to take them. And this is what really astounds us. So it is an economic sabotage. We need to work together. We want to help government overcome these challenges, but there seems to be a reluctance to do so, and we cannot understand why.
Palisa, one of the things, though, that Wayne is talking about, it's the community aspect of it. Kodwa imphakathi le esiyibona futhi imosha yona infrastructure le mangabe bona bayateleka kukhona into abayifunayo.
Yeah, that one is a serious problem, and we've always not maslangana siyayikhuza kakhulu. Currently, even ungabheka ama buildings we government ase malokishini, especially Soweto, I'll just talk about ikolo. Ikolo sezifakwa imikhukhu manje. Abantu sebahlala kuma classroom basebenzisa wona lo gesi, and nalo gesi wakhona uyabona ukuthi bayawubridge. So now mabathu Wayne asebenzisaneni kakhulu namaphoyisa. Amaphoyisa babonile kuqala kungena umkhukhu wokuqala esikolweni kwa reportwa, but nothing was done. Ayikho into eyenziwe. Namhlanje ikolo zibusy. Kuna about 300 schools that I know so that are supposed to be demolished. And there's no need for good demolition in terms of the site as a business, because we can change that infrastructure. But mini factories, so that our business bakon ukusebenza. Ngoba enye into ekakhulu kakhulu ukuswela kwemisebenzi yabantu yenza ukuthi abantu bahlale roaming around kungekho into abayenza bagcine bacabanga nobugebengu. And now we have to understand ukuthi township culture, it's like the more uwenza ubugebengu become a certain hero.
Dr. Masuku, kunento la ekhathazayo uPalisa akhuluma ngayo, and this is a thing around educating communities as well. Nge responsibility yabo when it comes to protection ye infrastructure, ngoba ukubona abantu when they are protesting and they go for the very infrastructure that they need.
Yes, and it is actually disappointing. We want to, and we always try to discourage umphakathi, they must not destroy the infrastructure that they need. And I think it's important also to take up the point, I think we should work together. This problem that we are facing, actually problem is not going to be solved versus solved. And if business and NGOs and civil society comes into the picture to help us or give us particular solutions that we might need to solve the problem, we should work with them. And also, even in terms of civil society, to educate the public about the maintenance and taking care of our own infrastructure. And it's something that we need to work on it quite. And if, maybe just also to say to Wayne that if there are people who you offer these solutions, the legislature, the portfolio committees that are responsible for that particular aspect or sector that you want solutions to be implemented, you can bring them up to the legislature, because that's what we require a South Africa that will work, a South Africa that will work together to actually to solve our problems.
And when we come back, Wayne, then we talk about solutions and this collaboration that I'm liking, especially when when we are able to empower communities just to report on the spot and be able to get some some immediate assistance. Kodwa mbukeli akasithi shelele $8 masibuya sizokhuluma ngezisombululo ukuthi senze njani, njengoba usuqalile ubezwa nje bekhuluma ngokuthi bangasebenzisana ukuze sikwazi ukuthi sinqobele inkinga. Mbukeli sesiphetha nje ake sibheke izisombululo zalenkinga yokwebiwa, ukucekela phansi kanye nokunganakekelwa kwengqalasizinda phecelezi infrastructure ngolwasemzini nezihambeli zethu. Palisa, for you yini into engaba isolution noma mhlambe into ekumele yenziwe nje ngokusheshsha ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi silungise lenkinga?
Into engenziwa ngokusheshsha ukubambisana as a community, because when you're talking of business, people are talking of the same community. Nayo government wethu ukuthi ake sibambisane with also namaphoyisa wethu, so that ngoba le cable mayintshontshiwe kukhona la yothengiswa khona and ithengiswa kulo mphakathi wethu lona. So nje isombululo ukuthi umphakathi nawo uthathe responsibility yokunakekela infrastructure.
All right, for you, Wayne, what becomes the part of the solution to this problem, especially at the back of what Dr. Masuku said about working together?
Yeah, we need to, we can't expect the local government to police and manage all the infrastructure, especially electricity, substations, illegal connections. The public are very keen to assist. The public don't want their substations to go down because it impacts on them. And they will be part of the solution if only they're given the opportunity to do so. So I think what we need to see in government and provincial government, local government, is a greater reaching out to civil society, to business, to find these solutions. I think when government does engage, they will see that there are a lot of solutions already in place. All we need to do now is work together, involve the communities, train the communities how these various applications work and how we can apprehend the criminals who are making our lives difficult, who are stealing from the poor, because the money that the cities and the province should be using to build more clinics, classrooms, homes, and that is being used to now deal with vandalism. So if we work together more smartly, I think we will be able to overcome a lot of our problems.
Dr. Masuku?
Yeah, I think in agreement is that we need to continue to mobilize community, educate, and conscientize them on the issue of protecting a property. You would be surprised that schools get vandalized, clinics get vandalized, and it's something that this is a clearly needed service in the community. So we're working together, conscientizing the community, educating them. But those who are found to be at fault, they need also, to be harshly dealt with by the law, because our law is not also very actually helpful. This, some of these criminals get apprehended, and then tomorrow they are out, and I think the justice system also has to come to party. So generally, I'm saying to you that government should work with everybody. It's the role of government to facilitate development and to make sure that we're able to maintain and protect our infrastructure.
And as you say, convictions are going to be quite critical in this regard as well, to ensure ukuthi asiboni lenkinga iqhubeka. Let me thank you all for your time, and hopefully we get to have more of these conversations, because as you say, the communities must also play a part in looking after the infrastructure, but there's many players that are in this particular picture. Mbukeli, siyabonga kakhulu ngokuthi uhlanganyele nathi kanye nezihambeli zethu, Dr. Ubandile Masuku, nobuya ku Community Safety Portfolio committee shamthetho esifundazweni sase-Gauteng. Samukele nonkosazana uPalisa ukhambule obenathi la oyisekela likamongameli wenhlangano iSoweto Business Forum kanye noWayne Divinage, who is the CEO of Outer. Asethembe mbukeli ukuthi ingxoxo izoqhubeka emakhasini okuxhumana ngoba ingxoxo ebaluleke kakhulu le. Makhumalo wakwaZwane nethimba le Asikhulume sithi nisale kahle.